How many times have you found yourself waiting for change to come from outside, as if the world around you was responsible for transforming your life? How many times have you believed that fate, or perhaps luck, would bring you the perfect opportunities, the exact moment to act? It is easy to fall into the trap of transferring responsibility to the other, of believing that success is something that just happens, as if it were magic. But the truth is that life doesn't work like that. Productivity, success, personal fulfillment, none of this arises by chance. Everything is the result of a continuous process of learning, trial and error, of conscious effort. And that's why today, I'm going to share with you 9 essential tips to increase productivity, whether in your daily life or at work. These are valuable tips that can change the course of your life completely, if you are willing to apply them with discipline and determination. Imagine a young artist, full of dreams and ambitions, but not knowing where to start. He admires the great masters of art, those whose works inspire millions, and wonders how they got there. However, instead of waiting for talent to manifest itself, this young man makes a crucial decision. He resolves to learn from those who have already walked this path. He studies their techniques, observes their routines, understands their failures and successes. Gradually, he shapes his own journey, not by blind imitation, but by intelligently absorbing the best in others. This is the power of learning through the experiences of others. Now, think about your life. How many times have you postponed your dreams, waiting for the right moment, the perfect condition? How many times have you left for tomorrow what you could start today, because you thought it wasn't ready yet? What you may not realize is that that moment will never come if you keep waiting. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminds us of an essential question we must ask ourselves daily: is this task essential? When we eliminate what is not necessary, we focus on what really matters, and this gives us a double advantage. Not only do we become more efficient, but we also do better what we really need to do. So, the first step to becoming more productive, to achieving what you want, is to take responsibility. Don't expect life to do it for you. Make the decision today to start changing, to learn from others, to eliminate the unnecessary and focus on the essentials. Because, at the end of the day, productivity is not a destination, but a continuous journey of self-discovery and constant improvement. These 9 tips that I am going to share with you can be the key to unlocking your full potential. So, get ready for an inner revolution that will begin from the moment you decide to apply them in your life. Ride the storm. Towards a deep understanding of what it really means to master one's own life, we are faced with a concept that many avoid, but which is absolutely necessary: facing the storm. Make no mistake, at some point, we are all challenged by circumstances that seem to be beyond our control. Times when the pressure becomes overwhelming, when responsibilities pile up like gigantic waves, and everything we have before us seems terrible, discouraging. But it is exactly in these moments that true character is forged. Imagine yourself in the midst of a storm, where the wind and rain seem to conspire against you, pushing you out of your way. We've all been there. Life's demands pile up, and you look at your whiteboard, full of tasks, responsibilities, and challenges, and feel the weight of each one. And honestly, some of this stuff is really terrible. But here's the point: it's not about how terrible these things are, but about how you decide to face them. When you are there, in the midst of the storm, you may feel that there is no way out. You're exhausted, emotionally drained, and the temptation to give up, to give in to pressure, is enormous. However, this is the crucial time when you must commit, not only to the work that needs to be done, but to the mindset required to do it. Whether you write, whether you're an athlete, or whatever your field is, the ability to handle pressure is what separates you from those who give up. The action, in this context, is intense, the competition is fierce, and only those who have mastered the art of navigating these turbulent waters can stand out. Here's the brutal truth: you can't allow yourself to be a victim. Life won't wait for you to be ready. It won't slow down just because you're tired or overwhelmed. And in a way, that's a blessing in disguise. because it is precisely this intensity that forces him to grow, to adapt, to find a way to survive and thrive. It's what makes the journey meaningful. Think about the big names you admire, whether they are writers, athletes, entrepreneurs. All of them, without exception, have faced storms in their lives. What sets them apart is that they have learned to face the monster of productivity, to fight against inertia and procrastination. They understood that it is not a question of finding their dream job or the perfect situation, but rather of developing a method, a system that would allow them to advance even in the worst conditions. They took responsibility for their own development, knowing that success would come not just by wishing, but by acting, systematically, day after day. So, if you want to achieve your goals, don't wait for the storm to pass. Don't expect life to become easy or circumstances to improve on their own. Instead, embrace the chaos, master the storm. Learn to continuously improve, to adapt, to find solutions even when everything seems to be against you. And above all, refuse to be a victim. This is the real secret to transforming your life, to not only survive, but thrive in the midst of adversity. Don't stray from the journey. After understanding the importance of facing adversity head-on and riding the productivity storm, it is crucial to discuss the next step in this journey of self-mastery, consistency and unwavering commitment to your own evolution. It's not just about getting back up after a fall, but about standing firm on the path you've chosen, without being sidetracked by the temptations or difficulties that will inevitably arise. Imagine that you have just landed your first job, or that you are starting a new project that you consider fundamental to your career or personal life. It's natural that at this early stage, excitement and anxiety mix, creating a sense of urgency to prove your worth. However, we are soon faced with reality. The journey to success is long and full of pitfalls. And the first of these is the tendency to be distracted or diverted from the main objective. This is where many fall. Have you heard of David Allen and his Getting Things Done methodology? It talks about the importance of capturing, organizing, and reviewing all your tasks and ideas, so that nothing gets lost in the chaos of everyday life. And this is crucial in the first few years of work or any new venture. Because if you start letting small responsibilities slip away, if you start allowing distractions to interfere with your focus, you're actually building a fragile foundation that won't sustain your dreams in the long run. One of the most common mistakes among those who are just starting out is thinking that they can allow themselves some flexibility or relaxation when it comes to commitments. A simple example, imagine that you promised to deliver a paper on Wednesday. But on Tuesday afternoon, he realizes that he will not be able to meet the deadline. What to do? Many would choose to leave it to warn at the last minute, or even try to extend the deadline without prior notice. However, the true professional, the one who understands the importance of maintaining trust and integrity, does it differently. He warns in advance, clearly communicates that he will need more time and, above all, delivers what he promised on the new agreed date, without fail. This attitude demonstrates control and responsibility, not only over your work, but also over how you manage your time and your promises. When the people around you realize that they can count on you, that you have control over your tasks and deliver what you promise, something powerful happens. You start to build a solid reputation, based on reliability and consistency. Now, let's be clear, consistency does not mean perfection. There will be days when you feel tired, overwhelmed, or even unmotivated. But it is in these moments that you must remember the commitment you have made to yourself and others. Refusing to drop the ball is key. And that often means going beyond what is comfortable or easy. So, what's the next step? It's simple, but it requires discipline. Never allow not an option to become a justification for abandoning a task or running away from a responsibility. If something pops up on your radar and looks like it's going to hinder your progress, eliminate it. Be relentless in defending your time and energy. Because, at the end of the day, what really matters is building a solid foundation, where every small victory and every honorable commitment paves the way for a future where you will be increasingly aligned with who you really are and what you want to achieve. So, on your journey, remember that true success is built on consistency. Don't be seduced by distractions or the easy way out. Stand firm, refuse to deviate, and build the solid foundation on which you can continue to grow, safe in the knowledge that you are in control of your destiny, day in and day out. The morning silence ritual. Imagine waking up in a world where external noise has not yet invaded your mind. A world where, before any notification, before the incessant whirring of obligations, there is a moment of pure stillness. That's the power of morning silence. We all face days full of challenges, but what few realize is that the quality of our day is often decided in the first few minutes after we wake up. Instead of grabbing your phone and getting lost in a spiral of distractions, set aside the first 30 minutes for something much deeper: silence. At this moment, sit with yourself, without haste, without the desire to solve everything at once. Just be present. Take a deep breath, allow your thoughts to organize themselves. Without directing them, just watch them as clouds pass through the sky. This exercise is more than just a meditation, it is a declaration that you are in control of your day, that your mind is sovereign and will not be a slave to external demands. This moment of silence is not just to calm down, it serves to awaken. Awaken your clarity, your purpose, your ability to decide what really matters that day. By the end of those 30 minutes, you'll have given yourself a rare gift in a chaotic world, the opportunity to start your day with intention, calm, and most of all, power. From this practice, you will discover that morning silence can transform not only your day, but your life. The philosophy of less but better. In a world that values always more, have you ever considered the power of doing less? Not less out of laziness or lack of ambition, but less to do better. This is what I call the philosophy of less, but better. Every task, every commitment, every decision we make consumes a portion of our mental and emotional energy. However, not all of these activities bring significant returns. How many times have you found yourself bogged down in unimportant tasks, while the few things that really matter have been neglected? The philosophy of less but better challenges this logic. It teaches us to prioritize rigorously, to choose carefully where to place our attention, so that we can dedicate the best of ourselves to the things that really matter. Start the day by identifying one or two tasks that, if done excellently, will make your day successful. It can be an important conversation, a critical project, or even a quality moment with a loved one. Focus on them, eliminate distractions, and allow yourself to do your best for these few activities. When you reduce quantity, quality inevitably increases. This philosophy requires courage. Courage to say no to what is trivial, to avoid the temptation of multitasking, and to accept that doing less, with intention, brings exponential results. By adopting less, but better, you not only improve your performance at work, but also enrich your life, as you start to value what really matters. And at the end of the day, instead of feeling tired or frustrated, you'll feel fulfilled and at peace, knowing that you've done your best for what truly makes a difference. Value your exclusivity. After understanding the importance of maintaining focus and consistency in our journeys, it is essential that we address another fundamental aspect: valuing our own exclusivity. We are constantly connected, inundated with notifications, messages, and information that demand our attention at all times. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that always being available is synonymous with productivity or importance. But in fact, the opposite is true. Let's reflect on the wisdom of the ancients, especially the words of Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher. He teaches us that we should allow ourselves ignorance in certain matters, that we should not always be aware of everything that happens around us. And this does not mean negligence, but rather a conscious recognition that our energy and attention are finite resources, which must be directed to what really matters. After all, if we are constantly responding to every external stimulus, we never delve into the tasks that truly have the power to transform our lives. Think of Napoleon, who, despite being one of the most powerful leaders of his day, had a practice that may seem surprising by today's standards. He waited weeks before opening certain mail. He understood something that many of us have forgotten in the digital age. Most problems resolve themselves over time, without the need for immediate intervention. The real challenge is to discern what deserves our attention and what can wait. In a world where connectivity is seen as a sign of relevance, it becomes revolutionary to practice selective unavailability. It's not about ignoring responsibilities, but about prioritizing what really matters. If you are always accessible, if you respond to every notification at the exact moment it arises, you are sacrificing your time, your mental energy, and your own progress. How can you dedicate yourself to the big things, to what really transforms, if you are constantly being dragged to deal with the trivial? That's the secret to real productivity, and more importantly, happiness, being less accessible. Carefully select the battles worth fighting, the problems that really need your intervention. Allow yourself the freedom not to know, to not be available to everything and everyone. When you choose to disconnect from the noise and connect with yourself, that's when true clarity arises, the ability to philosophize about life and, more crucially, to live according to those principles. This shift in perspective may seem challenging at first, especially since we've been conditioned to believe that constant availability is a virtue. But by making this adjustment, you'll start to notice that not only does your productivity improve, but so does your peace of mind. By restricting access to your time, you enrich it, making it more meaningful. Remember, valuing your exclusivity is not an act of selfishness, but of self-knowledge. It's understanding that to be truly effective at anything, you need to be fully present, focused, and immersed in what you're doing. And for this to happen, it is sometimes necessary to close doors, ignore calls, and postpone answers. Not because external demands don't matter, but because you know that, at the end of the day, what really counts is how much you've dedicated yourself to what's essential. Develop assertive routines. After talking about the importance of valuing your exclusivity, let's now dive into an equally crucial aspect to achieve success and personal fulfillment, the development of assertive routines. Just like with the Stoic concept of focusing on what really matters, creating a system that works for you is what can make all the difference in the way you conduct your life and work. Think about it. No matter how talented someone is, without a well-structured routine, without a system that directs their efforts in the right direction, this talent can easily get lost in the chaos of everyday life. This is no different from what author and mentor Robert Greene teaches about the writing process. When he shared his method, he wasn't offering a magic formula, but rather a framework that, when followed with discipline, allows anyone, regardless of their level of experience, to produce consistent, high-quality results. Imagine an artist who tries to paint a masterpiece without a clear vision of what he wants to create. He may have the best paints, the most expensive brushes, and the most impressive talent, but without a plan, he'll likely end up frustrated and with a messy canvas. Likewise, in any area of life, whether at work, in studies, or in personal projects, it is necessary to develop routines that help you channel your energy effectively, ensuring that every effort counts, that every action has a clear purpose. It is important to note that these routines do not have to be rigid or inflexible. What works for one person may not work for another, and that's exactly where assertiveness comes in. Being assertive means knowing yourself enough to know what works for you, adapting the best practices to your lifestyle, your pace, and your goals. It's not about blindly following a system imposed by others, but rather about building your own path, based on principles that make sense to you. And here's a valuable tip: when developing your routines, make a point of always answering some fundamental questions. What exactly do you want to achieve? How will you measure your progress? What is the best way to communicate and share information related to your work or project? Answering these questions clearly can completely transform the way you trade. When you know exactly what needs to be done and how you're going to do it, the work becomes much more efficient, and you move away from the norms that often only get in the way. For example, in the modern workplace, it's common for communication to get lost amid dozens of instant messages, emails, and other forms of real-time communication. This constant bombardment of information can easily turn your day into a cognitive disaster, where true productivity slips away amid distractions. That's why it's critical to create processes that help you stay focused and mentally organized, allowing you to produce value in a systematic and consistent way. Remember, success is not just about what you do, but about how you do it. Developing assertive routines means taking control of your time, your energy, and your resources, using them in the best possible way. By following a system that is tailored to your needs and goals, you not only increase your chances of success but also create a strong foundation on which you can continually build and grow. So, the next step in your journey is this: look at your current routine and ask yourself if it's really taking you in the direction you want. If the answer is no, don't be afraid to make the necessary changes. Continuously adjust, refine, and improve until your routines become powerful tools to achieve everything you want. This is how you, in a stoic and determined way, master the art of living and working productively and meaningfully. Show up and make a difference. It's crucial to understand that productivity isn't just about maximizing the number of tasks completed, but about knowing where to consciously direct your energy. The story we're going to explore now addresses one of the biggest challenges we face in the quest for efficiency: the illusion that we'll always have time in the future to accomplish what we've put off today. Imagine the following scenario: you wake up to an endless list of tasks, all demanding your attention. But like many of us, you feel like you're a little tired, maybe you're not at your best today. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, tomorrow I'll be more energetic, tomorrow I'll have more energy, tomorrow everything will be easier. This thinking often leads us to postpone what needs to be done now, placing our trust in a future version of ourselves, a version we believe to be almost superhuman. This belief, however, is dangerous. It makes us forget that tomorrow is just an extension of today, with the same limitations of time, energy, and resources. Steven Pressfield, author of The War of Art, warns us of this phenomenon. He mentions that procrastination is like a silent enemy that makes us believe that there will always be a better time in the future to start that important project, to write our personal symphony. But the truth is that if we don't do it today, the likelihood that we will do it tomorrow is no greater. And then the question arises: if we know that time is limited, how can we start being more productive now? How can we break this cycle of procrastination and actually move towards our goals? The answer may be surprising. Instead of trying to force productivity through strict discipline or constant effort, one of the most effective approaches may actually be to optimize for fun. Yes, optimize for fun. When you turn your daily tasks into something you really enjoy doing, the natural resistance we feel to work starts to fade. It's like turning hard work into a game, where every little progress brings immediate satisfaction. And that's the key to maintaining consistency and eventually achieving great results. This idea is reinforced in the book Make Time, by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky, where they introduce the concept of today's highlights. The proposal is simple, but powerful. Every day, identify a task, just one, that is really important to you. It could be something related to your job, your health, or even something personal. The important thing is that at the end of the day, if you've completed this task, you'll feel accomplished. This approach not only improves your productivity, but also brings clarity to what really matters in your life. It's like drawing your daily journey, where every step is taken with intention and purpose. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, emphasized the importance of living each day as if it were a microcosm of one's whole life. And that's exactly what this Today's Highlights practice invites us to do. By implementing these small but significant changes to your routine, you begin to turn your life into something more than just a to-do list. You begin to live with purpose, knowing that each day is a unique opportunity to get closer to your deepest goals. And when you look back, you see that it was not only productive, but it also found a balance between doing and being, between creating and living. Be in control of your destiny. Continuing what we discussed earlier about the importance of building assertive routines and staying productive in a sustainable way, it is now necessary to dive into an essential aspect: control over our destiny. This control, however, does not refer to an illusion of absolute power over all circumstances, but rather to the ability to direct our lives with intention and purpose. The central question we must ask ourselves is, who is in charge of my life? Too often, we find ourselves at the mercy of external expectations, obligations that we don't always consciously choose, and an endless list of responsibilities that take us away from our true desires and passions. It's easy to fall into the trap of living on autopilot, fulfilling tasks without questioning whether they really lead us where we want to go. Imagine, for a moment, that you are behind the wheel of a car on a long, straight road. The journey is smooth, and you may even feel comfortable, but suddenly you realize that you have no idea where you are going. Someone else has mapped out the path for you, and now you're just following. This feeling of being out of control, of not being the author of your own story, can be devastating. But, just like behind the wheel of a car, you have the power to turn the wheel, to take the reins of your destiny and decide where you want to go. One of the most inspiring stories that illustrates this point is that of J.K. Rowling, author of the Harry Potter series. Before becoming one of the most successful writers in the world, Rowling faced a series of difficulties. She was a single mother, unemployed, living on government benefits and struggling with depression. Many would have given up in the face of such adversity, but Rowling decided that she would write the book she had in mind, even without knowing if she would ever succeed. She was in control of her destiny, not because she knew she would be famous, but because she chose to focus on what was important to her, on what really moved her. This example shows us that control over our destiny is not a matter of being absolutely sure about the future, but rather of acting decisively in the present. It's about understanding that even if we can't control all the circumstances around us, we can choose how we react to them, how we direct our energy, and how we stay focused on what really matters. Too often, we see people who, in the eyes of society, have achieved extreme success, brilliant careers, global recognition, fortune, and yet, when we look closer, we realize that they have no control over their own lives. They are always running, always under pressure, with very little time for themselves. This leads us to a deep reflection. What is really success? Is it the ability to accumulate more, to do more, or is it the ability to live in harmony with one's values, to find meaning and satisfaction in what we do? For many, the answer lies in rediscovering the passion for what you do, and this is only possible when we are truly in control of our choices. It's not just about saying no to what doesn't serve us, but saying yes to what really moves us. That control takes courage to disappoint others, to follow a less conventional path, to fail, and to learn from those failures. But it is exactly this courage that defines those who are truly free. Therefore, when we talk about being in control of your destiny, we are talking about an ongoing process of self-evaluation, questioning, and decision-making that, although they may seem small at the time, build the mosaic of our lives. And each piece of this mosaic must be placed with intention, with the awareness that, in the end, the picture that emerges is the history of our existence. If there's one central message here, it's this: don't hand over the steering wheel of your life to anyone else. The path may be challenging, there may be moments of uncertainty, but the freedom that comes from knowing that you are the author of your own journey is unparalleled. And this is the true essence of Stoicism. It is not about controlling the external world, but about governing oneself with wisdom, courage, and self-knowledge. Spark an inner revolution. The act of taking the reins of one's own life demands a deep inner revolution, something that goes beyond the simple desire to change. It's a process that challenges our most ingrained beliefs, our fears, and often even the image we have of ourselves. This inner transformation is what allows us to not only move forward but also reach our true potential by breaking down the inner barriers that limit us. Imagine for a moment that you are imprisoned in a cell. The walls around you are built by your own doubts, fears, and insecurities. You have the key to get out of this prison, but you only use it to look through the lock, without the courage to open the door. The inner revolution I mention here is the moment when you decide not only to open that door, but also to destroy the walls you have built throughout your life. Think of great figures in history, such as Nelson Mandela. During his long years of imprisonment, he could have been consumed by hatred and hopelessness. But instead, Mandela used this time to provoke an inner revolution. Not only has he become a stronger leader, but he has also become a symbol of forgiveness and resilience. Mandela understood that true power lies not only in the ability to change the outside world, but in the ability to transform oneself, to free oneself from the internal chains that prevent us from moving forward. This same revolution is needed in our everyday lives. All of us, at some point, have come across an inner voice that tells us that we are not good enough, that failure is inevitable, or that we do not deserve success. That voice, if left unchallenged, keeps us stuck in a cycle of mediocrity. We need to question this voice, challenge its premises, and, above all, understand that it does not define who we are. Each time we allow that voice to dictate our actions, we are actually empowering a smaller version of ourselves. In the context of sports, for example, a coach not only teaches technical skills, but also instigates this inner revolution in their athletes. It pushes them beyond the limits they believed they had, forcing them to confront their own fears and doubts. It's not just about running faster or jumping higher, but about believing that they are capable of accomplishing feats that once seemed impossible. And it is this process of renewed belief, of self-confidence, that often makes the difference between success and failure. Similarly, in our personal and professional lives, we need to put ourselves in situations that challenge our limited view of who we are. We must surround ourselves with people who see us for what we can be, and not just for what we are today. This does not mean ignoring our weaknesses, but rather recognizing them as starting points for growth. When someone challenges us to be better, to see our own potential, that person is offering us the key to our own inner revolution. And here's the crux of the matter: this transformation doesn't happen overnight. It requires continuous effort, deep reflection, and often the willingness to face uncomfortable truths about ourselves. But it is in this process that we find our true power. When we let go of the illusions of inadequacy and begin to truly believe in our potential, we begin to live according to our excellence, and not our limitations. So the next time you feel like you're stuck, that the world seems too small for your dreams, remember, true change starts from within. Spark that inner revolution, challenge yourself, and see how the world around you will begin to transform. After all, as Epictetus said, it is not the things that happen to us that disturb us, but our perception of them. And by changing this perception, by revolutionizing our interior, we have the power to shape our destiny, not only as spectators, but as the true authors of our history. If you are looking for a real transformation in your life, whether in personal development or in the deep reflections that only Stoicism can offer, then you can't miss these videos that I will make available. Here, we'll explore together the tools and thoughts that have shaped great minds throughout history, helping you reach a new level of clarity, productivity, and inner peace. Don't let this opportunity pass you by, and get ready for a journey of self-knowledge and growth that can really change the course of your life. Each video is a step towards a stronger, more focused, and more determined version of yourself. I'll wait for you in the next video.